Hi, this is Mrs. Guttinger, and welcome to today's video lesson. What are externalities? A story of bees. This lesson will be covering the following standards. Access the economic impact of negative and positive externalities on the local, state, and national environment. For this lesson, we're going to be using the following learning scale and goals. At the end of the lesson, you should be at level 3, where you will be able to define and identify positive and negative externalities, analyze the impact of externalities on consumers and society, and finally recognize that the consumption of goods and services can affect others. So what is an externality or externalities? Well, this is a word that we often use in economics, and it describes a side effect or a consequence, usually of a business transaction, either industrial or commercial activity, that is passed on to a third party, without this being reflected in the cost of the goods or services involved. A good example of this is the pollination of surrounding crops by bees that are kept for honey. Let's look at the business of beekeeping. Beekeepers raise bees for their honey production and numerous hive byproducts, like wax for candles. When you buy a jar of honey at the store or farmer's market, it's reasonable to assume that all the costs and benefits of the transaction are contained between the seller and you, the buyer. However, sometimes costs or benefits may spill over to a third party not directly involved in the transaction. One benefit that's passed on to others, not directly involved with beekeepers or their customers, is that of pollination. A possible third party that might benefit from the beekeeper's business enterprise would be the farmer or gardener in the surrounding area of the hives. Many of the foods and crops benefit from bee pollination, so the benefit of bee pollination that is passed on becomes a positive externality of beekeeping. Okay, let's stop and take a moment for review. A positive externality is a benefit that is passed on to others. It's a positive side effect or consequence of an industrial or commercial activity that is passed on to a third party, often unknowingly. Can you give some other examples of positive externalities? Okay, so what were your examples of other positive externalities?
I thought of if your neighbor renovates their house, that could positively affect your property value. And also, tourist attractions could attract business for local businesses like restaurants or hotels.
So give me, what's an example of a tourist attraction?
Something like the fort downtown.
So you're saying that all the people that they draw there, a spillover benefit would be
Business to the businesses around it. So
it's kind of an unintended positive spillover.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Positive what?
Externality.
All right, good, thank you. As we've seen, the cost and benefits of transactions for goods and services are often contained between the producers and consumers, but sometimes costs spill over to third parties. These spillover costs are called negative externalities. For example, farmers use pesticides and herbicides to protect crops from insect pests, weeds, and fungal diseases while they are growing. The use of pesticides and herbicides have increased agricultural production and productivity. However, negative externalities from such use have increased too. Examples of these externalities include damage to agricultural land, fisheries, and yes, even bees. As we have learned, insect pollinators play a very important role in the supply of our food. The presence of bees usually leads to better crop yields. Yet, ironically, it is thought that bees are disappearing at an alarming rate due to the spraying of crops with herbicides like Roundup. Now let's take a moment to review again. A negative externality is a cost that is passed on to others. It's a negative side effect or consequence of an industrial or commercial activity that is passed on to a third party. Can you give some other examples of negative externalities? Okay, so what kind of negative externalities did you come up with, other than the ones that I've discussed?
I thought of pollution, harming farmers, pollution from factories, and cutting down forests or deforestation could harm hunting. Uh,
And so who's cutting down the trees?
uh, People who want lumber.
Okay, so the lumber industry is cutting down the trees, and you're saying deforestation does what?
It would decrease hunting. You wouldn't be able to hunt in that area
And why wouldn't you be able to hunt?
because the animals would leave because it would now be empty.
Okay, all right, well, those are good examples. Thank you. Hopefully you've been taking good notes, but did you get the big idea? Externalities are unintended consequences of choices affecting those who did not make the initial choice. To summarize, the costs and benefits of transactions for goods and services are often contained between the producer and consumer, but sometimes costs and benefits spill over to third parties. The local beekeeper has a thriving honey business. Over time, area residents benefit from locally sourced produce and flowers due to bee pollination. Who benefits for free in this example? A. Area residents. B. The customer for free, 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 free. C. The beekeeper. Or D. Taxing authorities. If you chose A, you would be correct. Area residents don't have to pay anything. They don't have to buy the honey. They're not part of the transaction. But over time, they're benefiting because the bees are flying off and they're pollinating the local crops and flowers. And so area residents get to benefit from having locally sourced produce and flowers. Which would be a negative externality of using herbicides like Roundup on crops? Would it be A, less weeds, B, increase in agricultural production, C, bee colony collapse disorder, or D, more honey? If you said C, bee colony collapse disorder, then you would be correct. A negative externality of using herbicides like Roundup on crops is the disappearance of bees, and it is thought to be the cause of bee colony collapse disorder. So where are you on this scale of understanding? The next time we have a DBA, I'm going to ask you whether you're a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm hoping that you're going to be in between a 3 and 4, where you get it, you understand it, and you can explain it to others. So hopefully now you can define and identify positive and negative externalities. You can analyze the impact of externalities on consumers and society, and you can recognize that the consumer of goods and services can affect others. So now you get a chance to show me that you further understand this lesson. If you're directed to do so, then please submit the following. You're going to explore an environmental issue that your community or country is facing. Consider a challenge that has resulted in externalities affecting you in your local area. Choose an issue that you feel strongly about. Then you choose a format to create or present your awareness-raising campaign. You can write a letter to a newspaper editor, create a radio or television public service announcement, create a blog, contact government leaders, create a poster or pamphlet encouraging others to join an organization that is currently working to address the issue you have chosen. Create an awareness website. Please feel free to explore the following sources in more detail. Thank you for taking the time to view this video lesson. I hope it's expanded your understanding of positive and negative externalities in your community. If you have any questions or concern, you're welcome to text, call, or email me at any time. Have a great day.